coming a little bit late.
Every premier, a lot of PlayStations around Australia, it's time for them to start arresting these people. It's all in video. There's evidence everywhere. So thank you. I'll hand over to my sister. She's going to say a few things. So, arrest them all! It's time to arrest them! Honey Glenda! Give it up, Honey Glenda! Where you in Australia? Where you in Australia? The only people, the only ones that can make a difference in this country is you, Australia. You have to stand united. The greatest strategic plan they created and used is to divide and conquer. You have to unite. One mind, one accord, one body. If you're gonna do this, then let's do it together. Strip yourself naked of all your agendas. Because the people came when there was no leadership. They came here by spirit.
Yes!
Before anyone took a stand for any leadership, before any politician came, you were already here.
Yes!
You are the leaders and the peacemakers. But all I got to say is that stand with our mob too. Their law and our law, well, their law is they have no law. It's all fake. Call it what it is, it's fake. That's right. You know why I talk about all these constitutions and all these constitutions, institution, prostitution, I don't know. Call it what you like.
This
They
is
all
Cindy,
need to be
Bunjalung
abolished.
woman.
The only law that needs to be upheld in this law is the Creator's law, is the law of this land, and the law of my people. It is universal law. It is Creator's law. It is natural law. And that's the law of all the people. But anyways, that's enough from me. Love you. Got him my booger bag. Give it up for our sovereign sisters. Make some noise, Australia. Make some noise. Happy birthday. Be here. Leave our kids alone.
Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone! Leave our kids alone!
Leave our kids alone. Leave our kids alone. Leave our kids alone. Leave our kids alone. All right, ladies and gentlemen, if I could have everyone's attention. How's everyone doing, by the way? You good? All right, I know it's a bit hot, the sun is strong, but the Aussie spirit is stronger. And we have seen a lot of different industries turn away a lot of critical people over these insane injection mandates. Whose job's been affected by the injection mandates? Right? Can I get a show of hands? Have we got any teachers here?
Yeah.
We've got a few teachers. Give it up for the teachers, all the great work they do. Give it up for the teachers, folks. Give it up for the teachers. Teachers are some of the most important people in our society because we give our kids over to them for their education and for their socialisation, and there's a real trust process. But now it's become very scary, not only for teachers to go to school, but for kids to go to school over this insanity. And one teacher put his hand up to call out the injustice. I'm going to introduce him shortly. But I just want to address something. There's been a photo floating around when old mate went to see his grandfather at a lodge, right? And I questioned him on it because it's floated around. And many of you would know there's a group in Australia called the Freemasons, and they, for the most part, do charity work, right? And as time goes on, you can progress through those places. And I want to put this to bed once and for all. This gentleman's father was in a lodge doing charity work, and he was invited to a dinner and wore a tuxedo. That's all there is in it, okay? This man's put his hand up, he's spoken for the teachers, and he's helped create this movement what it is today. Please give it up for Christian, otherwise known as Mac. Make some noise for the Aussie hero. Make some noise, folks. My grandfather, not my dad. 6 months ago, I was a teacher. And 6 months ago, I was terminated because I wouldn't put a needle in my arm twice. And I was only a teacher for 4 years. I got into it late in my life. Prior to that, for 20 years, I had a different career. I was a boxing and weightlifting coach. I decided to settle down. Met my wife and 2 kids. And 6 months ago, I was told, unless you put 2 needles on your arm, you are no longer needed. And it's very simple. And it's very simple. Because they don't want teachers like me in front of your children, teaching them how to think for themselves. So I put out, I went into the garage and I put out a video and I called it the halftime speech. And my wife begged me, don't embarrass us. We were not on any social media. No one really knew us. Life was peaceful. And every day I put out this short video and I called it the halftime speech, and she begged me for a full-time speech. She said, you're embarrassing us. And I knew that we had a problem in this country. Now I saw a sign there, and I'd just like you to turn it around on the other side because I want to read it out. You know those doggos about a dictator's path to power? You know the bit where you ask yourself, why didn't the people stop it? Yeah. That's the bit we are in right now. On that side. Now, when you put yourself out there, as I have experienced for the last 6 months, you experience a lot of haters, a lot of trolls, a lot of death threats, a lot of cops showing up at your door. But I'm still here, and you're still here. Yeah. And we all have to do a lot better than that to stop this. And I'll tell you now, I felt like giving up nearly every night, because what I put my wife and children through in the last 6 months, she deserves to be made a saint. And what I put them through, and I said, babe, I've got to keep going, because we're up that hill. Yep. And then Captain Graham Hood reached out to me, and John Larder, and David Eads. And I even got on, I knew about Tricky and the People's Revolution, I even got a message from him. And I couldn't believe it. And then Joel Jamal said, I've got to interview you. And it all just went from there. But it's not about me. It is about you, and the message today, every single one of you can contribute and make a difference. Now I know there's a lot of people that don't like me for whatever reason. That's okay. That's okay. Listen, they're entitled to. But we're all on the same side. We are all on the same damn side. Now, I want you to pull up any of my videos or any of my posts, and you'll never hear me swear. You'll never hear me incite any violence, hatred, or racism. All I do is call for unity and peace. We do not fight hate with hate. We do not fight division with more division. We fight hate with love. We fight division with unity. Now you may not all like the people that are up here, but one thing is for sure, look where we're standing. We're on your side, and look where they are. We're all on the same damn side.
United.
Now I've had enough. And I, like these gentlemen here, like Tricky and Mike Sims and a few others and Dave, we organise rallies and protests. But I'll tell you what is happening this Saturday. One of the biggest protests this country has ever seen. Now, the lawn, half of the lawn is filled up, but we're going to fill it up all the way down to the real Parliament House of the people of the Commonwealth. We're going to fill it up, and we're going to get 1 million Aussies here. Because if there's one thing that Aussies know how to do, that is how to show up. That is how to fight. That is how to come back. We have shown the world that Australians, we will never die. We will not take this lying down, but we're only going to do it if we come together with every single faith, with every single skin colour, every single culture, every single religion. That is the only way we're going to do it. Because these spineless reptiles behind me, they want to divide us. And they will divide us on anything they can. That is what they try and do. Because when you're looking at me or you're looking at the next person as the enemy, we take our eyes off the real enemy. Now I'll tell you, I'll finish up with this. Believe you me, we are on the right side of history. We're just on the wrong side of the hill. Now I feel it. We've broken the back of that hill. And when we get to the top, and I don't know when that may be, let's be honest, there's no timeline. I will give a full-time speech. I may be old and grey, but I will not leave this battle to my children or grandchildren. And when I get to the top of that hill with all these guys, I will give a full-time speech, and I'm happy to go up into the sunset and make my wife happy. But until then, we have a job to do. And like I always finish my half-time speeches, Australians, pick up your shields, pick up your swords, and then give them another inch. I just want to acknowledge our previous speaker once again. We have all been through a lot of hate, haven't we? Who's had family members turn on them? Who's had colleagues turn on them? Who's had best friends throw them under the bus? And now, I've been speaking to Mac now for the last 6 months, and I don't think in this entire movement I've seen someone cop it more than him. He has a thick skin. He keeps showing up. He's in it for his kids. He's in it for the teachers. He's in it for the education system. He has an incredibly thick skin and he just keeps showing up. So please give it up for Max. Make some noise, folks. Make some noise. Give it up this time. Come on, folks. Thank you very much. I just want to thank all of you for the incredible energy you brought here today. The message is getting clearer that we are on the same side. We are going to overcome our differences and we're going to do this together. And there's some very important people we need with us on the front line, and that's the nurses. We've seen nurses being trolled and vilified. How could you possibly fire nurses during a pandemic if the pandemic was real? It's crazy. And we have been very disillusioned by medical professionals complying with insanity when they're supposed to take care of us. But there's been some very brave nurses who have spoken out and they've gone viral and they've helped to turn the tide in this war, this information war. And one such nurse is right beside me here. Please give a huge warm welcome to this incredibly courageous lady, Kathy Byrne. Nurse Kathy Byrne.
Hi everyone, my name is Kathy Byrne. I'm the registered mental health nurse / registered general nurse. Can you hear me now? Okay, sorry. Alright, good. Hi everyone, I'm Kathy Byrne. I'm the registered mental health nurse / registered general nurse that went viral when I organised the rally in Adelaide at Channel 9, and I was the first health professional globally that got onto mainstream media, and I was a huge whistleblower, and I do not regret that for a second! Do not! They ruined my career, they have ruined Mac's career, it's not okay, it's time for Australia to stand up! Medical freedom is a basic human right. I got this badge from the Adelaide Freedom Rally. We all wear it. We all stand in unity. This is not just about nurses. This is about our children. This is about our future generations. This is about the fact that we want grandchildren. Our children deserve the right to have children. They all need to go, and we will all make this happen, but we cannot make it happen without you. We need 1 million people, as Max said. Ricardo Bosie wants 5 million. We can get 1 million, we can. In Australia, I put a call out to all the South Australian freedom fighters. Get your butts here by Friday night. We are going to have the biggest rally this country has ever seen in history. Just want to say thank you for making the effort. We are from everywhere. We feel for our brothers and sisters in WA that can't even get back in. This is not okay. I think I've said enough, but I want to put a call out. Every enrolled nurse, every registered nurse, every pharmacist, every pharmacy assistant, every GP, every doctor who is complying, you are complicit.
Yes!
You are complicit in medical apartheid. You are complicit in medical tyranny. You are killing your own families. No one is immune. Wake up!
Give it up to Kathy Byrne, please, folks. Make some noise. Please give it up. Incredible courage. All right, guys. I know you're probably getting a bit tired on your feet, and it's hot, but we are digging in here. We've got some incredible speakers here for you today. Some incredibly courageous people who are speaking for all of us. Our next guest was a GP for 43 years. 43 years as a GP. I can't imagine the number of Aussies that he's helped with their health as a practicing doctor. Please give it up for the courageous Peter Johnson. Make some noise, folks. Dr. Peter Johnson. Dr. Peter Johnson.
Sorry, just remove.
Hello?
No worries, mate.
Yeah.
Yes, so to follow on from Kathy, it's so true. Big pharma, they've got the regulatory capture of the health regulation. Yeah. Good. Yeah, in medicine, Hippocratic oath, first do no harm, duty of care to people's life. Life is paramount, families, babies, everything. We got the global elite, our big pharma, that's their industry, indemnified unsuable in 1986. Now they want to build on that, and they've got regulatory capture, big pharma, of all the health regulatory agents in the third world, in our Western world. Our medical practice is tightly regulated by big pharma. They educate us, and we, as doctors, we've got to realise that it's all marketing and sales copy to sell product. An ounce of prevention is better than a pound of cure. We're not just to be played for sport as guinea pigs of Bill Gates and Klaus Schwab. Life is everything. I urge all our health practitioners to stay true to our first do no harm and our duty of care to people, and not be turned by big pharma into this collectivism of the greater good and the lie of public health, where we are subtly genociding our people. So, doctors, nurses, what you see, please stand true to a duty of care to uphold life. Life is everything. And the global elite are tearing it down. They're hell-bent on depopulating us. Big pharma is their genocide jab. It's their poison stick. The mainstream media and the health regulatory agencies. You need to just break free of the regulatory capture of big pharma. Keep it up, you wonderful people. Massive round of applause. Put up folks for Dr. Peter Johnson. Dr. Peter Johnson, please give it up, make some noise. Incredible courage. Incredible courage, mate. So incredible to see a doctor of 43 years come up and start calling out the insanity. This is what we face, folks, is that the people that we have counted on for so long have complied with this tyranny, and slowly we are turning the tide. So please, one more huge round of applause for this courageous doctor, Dr. Peter Johnson, one more time. So, ladies and gentlemen, who woke up about 15 years ago or more? Put your hand up if you woke up 15 years ago or more. Righto. Put your hand up if you woke up, say, around 5 years ago. Put your hand up if you only woke up in the last 12 months. Right? We've all been waking up at different rates through our lifetime, and our lives have taken us to this point where we've realised that we were born for this. Who feels they were born for this? Absolutely, right? And now we have a gentleman who has landed in this position, no pun intended, no pun intended, and he made a video that went viral around the world. And now, many of you have been speaking out like myself for many years, and most people laughed at us. I've got multiple hate pages. All my mates called me Tin Hat Dave or Conspiracy Dave and laughed at me. Who's been laughed at, right? We've been laughed at. People don't take us seriously. But when a pilot who has flown Scott Morrison multiple times through Australia, who has flown, I think it's 6 million Aussies, 12 million miles, starts to stand up and call out this insanity, ordinary Australians started listening, didn't they? Yes. And when the ordinary Australians start listening, we start getting the masses. And when we've got the masses, we start winning. And when they start winning, we kick these bastards out. Yeah. And that's what it's all about, folks. We're kicking them out.
And so when we have credibility and integrity and someone without political aspirations, someone who just wants to speak to the people, we have a real chance here, folks. We have our first real chance. I've never been more confident that we're going to win this because we have a captain through a stormy sea, through a dark time. We have a captain to steer the ship straight and steady the course. Please give it up for the one and only Captain Greg Hood.
Cut it out, will you? First of all, we're sharing this ground with a refugee organisation who is protesting here for similar reasons than we are, and I want to welcome Hassan and the refugee group here to our holy ground. And I'll tell you why, Hassan, because 232 years ago, the United Kingdom turned Australia into an offshore detention centre. And a lot of us are descendants of that group. And now we're getting together with the people who are impacted the most by that offshore detention centre, the sovereign people who had it ticking over beautifully right in the first place. I want you to look up that hill to the bronze dome over the top of the unknown soldier. That monument looks at this building behind me. I wish the occupants of that building would look at that monument every day and consider their position. I started this journey, I'm going to keep this brief. There is a tent coming for kids and elderly who are feeling the heat. It's coming, there's water. Please avail yourself of that. But I started this journey because a bunch of pilots said, what are we going to do about this mandate that's coming? Because we asked the Civil Aviation Safety Authority to give us some data. Because if I get a cold, I can't even take a codeine unless I ground myself, yet they want to stick that crap into my blood. I asked the question, what will happen if I get up to altitude and I have a blood clot? What will happen to my medical? Will I be able to pass it? Will I be able to fly? What will happen if I'm on approach in a thunderstorm with Scott Morrison sitting behind me and I black out? What happens? You know what they said? Follow the narrative. They said, we don't know. And I looked at these kids. I've had a great career. 53 years, 32 years a captain with Qantas. I'm proud of that. But I looked at these kids on the Zoom call. Their careers had just started. They were halfway through their careers. And they looked absolutely shocked by what was coming. Because none of it made sense to them. Because they do risk-benefit analysis. And the flight attendants as well. And I looked at these guys, and I was the oldest bloke in the group. And I thought the only way we're going to get anything done is if I fall on my sword so they can have their chance at finishing their career that they wanted since they were 5. And some of them are teared up in front of me now. Some of them are here now. Now little did I know when I did that I would end up being a voice for so many of you. Let me tell you what it used to be like for Qantas with one quick story. I was flown to Parli from Darwin. I flew an aircraft into Darwin after the second Parli bombing, and I went up to have a juice in the terminal. And as I walked through the terminal, I saw people bandaged and burnt who were waiting to go home. And as I looked at them, I thought, my God, these people have been through hell. And when they got on the aircraft and they shut the door and the aero bridge moved away, I went out into the forward flight attendant station and I picked up the PA mic and I said, welcome home. Because at that moment when that door shut, they were on a Qantas aircraft and they were going home aboard the Spirit of Australia. I don't know what your agenda is, Alan Joyce, but you have destroyed the Spirit of Australia. I have spoken to pilots who've been forced to get it because they felt they had no other option, and one of them said to me, it felt like I was raped. More than half of your staff feel raped, Alan Joyce. What does that make you? So I started the journey for aviation. They're still fighting. They're still struggling. And we may achieve something very shortly that will put that struggle to an end. And I'll talk about that in a minute. But I have said consistently, I am here for hope, faith and love. Don't follow me, follow Jesus. And if I step down from this stage and you never saw me again, if you follow Jesus, then you're in the same position. So if we do it with respect, if we stick to a proper agenda and not split into factions over different agendas, then we will win. So I want to tell you something special. We have been negotiating for weeks and weeks to try and get proper representation and a voice. We have all struggled with legacy media. We have. But we need to start treating people with respect. We need to. Because why would anyone want to talk to somebody who keeps calling them a liar? Sometimes we're our own worst enemies. We love to film when the police get angry. But how many of us have provoked them to anger by yelling at them and pointing our fingers at them and telling them that they're next on the list? We can't do that. And we have been very, very good while we've been here. And now I'm going to tell you what the fruit of that is. We negotiated with the Federal Police yesterday, senior officers who are wanting to help us every step of the way because they believe we have a right to be here. We have been talking. We made contact with a reporter from the last rally here in Canberra who actually reported it fairly honestly based on the information he had. But what information did he get? He didn't get the information from us because we kept telling him he was a liar. Do you hear me?
Yes! He is a liar!
No! Listen to me. If you want to win this and you want me to lead you to victory, will you listen to me?
Peace and love!
What?
Light and love.
Peace and love!
My agenda when I came here, my agenda from the beginning was I want the mandates ended.
Yes!
I want the jobs to return.
Yes!
I want the kids protected.
Yes!
I want the borders open.
Yes!
I want the state of emergency repealed.
Yes!
I want Victoria set free.
Yes!
I want the West Australian border to crumble.
Yes!
And there's a few more.
Yes!
Now,
Yes!
as a result of calling someone and thanking him for what he did and the way he reported, Chris Uhlmann from Channel 9 is about to interview me now in front of you.
Yes!